Ooh, hey, we are here. I just went to get my big bottle of water, so I need to go quickly and come back. Welcome once again. Um, New year, new faces, new incredible faces that we are getting to know. I have um, a guest twice a week next week. Um, every week of January and February is getting filled up. People are anxious. People are goal setting. People are. It's like that New Year's turmoil that everyone experiences, right? So it's just like an amazing time of the year, exciting, but at the same time a little bit scary because with the new year, uh, I'm a big fervent believer, okay, of action taking. You know, it doesn't matter if you're at the middle of the year, it doesn't matter if you're you're at the beginning, doesn't matter if you're at the end. I mean, but people kind of use this as an excuse, I feel, to get things done and procrastinate until the new year, right? So, but nonetheless, 2025 is here, and it's going to be a great year for the Social Tiger. It's going to be a great year for you, Emily. It's going to be a great year for all of us. So, let's get right into it. So, topic is health. How can business owners make use of developing good health habits in 2025, and how can they stick to the routine, which is so hard to do. We see I think 80% of gym memberships gets canceled within the first 2 months or something. So it's like super crazy that people are gung ho at first, but then they lose kind of like momentum, and then they get busy, and then they fall back into the old habits, you know. And so we have an incredible guest, Dr. Emily, who's going to guide us in all ways of health practices and just like how to skyrocket your health in 2025 and how to remain consistent. And I mean, like, and what tips she has to remain healthy, what tips she has to actually prevent illnesses and prevent things from happening. Because there's a lot of things that we can be doing in order to prevent things with our health that we're not. I guarantee you, because I'm probably one of the ones. So without further ado, thank you so much, Dr. Emily, for joining us today. So, just let us know more about your story and how you got
Sure,
into practicing medicine and
sure.
what uh, and just I know that I've heard a little bit about your story. It's incredible and what you're doing. Because you're a health coach as well. You have a network of coaches as well,
Mhm.
and just like amazing impact that you're having.
Well, thank you. That's actually my word for 2025 is impact. So that was a good segue. Yeah, so I'm Dr. Emily Rodersheimer, and my story actually kind of starts back when I was 10 years old. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and over many years, it took a long time to figure out what was wrong with me. I had swelling in my knee. Everyone thought it was an injury it took about 2 years to figure out I had rheumatoid arthritis. And then I was on a lot of medications, seeing lots of doctors. And, the healthcare staff team that I had was phenomenal. They were so good to me. And, it's really what made me decide to become a doctor was those experiences that I had. And so, fast forward, I went to medical school, became a doctor. I was in primary care doctor for about 15 years. And it was a good job. I really enjoyed the patients that I worked with. But then I read an article about something called functional medicine, which I had never heard of before. I'd been through all this training and had never heard of this. And the idea in the article was that food could change your health, and food could be promoting your inflammation. And I thought, well, let me try this. They were suggesting changing your diet, and I thought, well, whatever, I'll give it a go. So I cleaned up my diet for 30 days. I ate really clean, followed the program they were recommending, and I was able to stop injecting myself with one of the two medications I had been using for a long time after 30 days of eating differently. So that was like a light bulb moment. Like, what is this? This is very powerful, right? So I kept exploring and learning more, and ultimately became certified in functional medicine, which is really about looking for the root cause of why we have an illness, chronic disease, symptoms that are unexplained. So just really became my own guinea pig. And over the course of a couple years, I was able to reverse my rheumatoid arthritis. So now I don't take any medicines. My joints are healthy. And that was really kind of what promoted me to say I have to change the way I practice. So I left primary care. I opened up my own functional medicine practice, no business experience at all. So that's been a big learning curve there. But and now all I do is help other people find the root cause of
Wow,
their illness.
amazing, amazing.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, go
awesome.
ahead.
So you say the root cause, right? And
Yeah.
I think that is, I think that is so impactful, Dr. Emily, because let me explain you why. A lot of medicines just cover over the symptoms nowadays, right?
Mhm.
Like we see, of course, I love doctors. Doctors have your best interest at heart,
Yes.
obviously, and so a lot of doctors just prescribe, but they to get rid of the symptoms, right?
Mhm.
And of course, if they want to get to the root cause, they have to do studies. They have to. It's this prolonged kind of process, right? Depending on what. Well, it really depends on the type of doctor. Well, it depends on everything. So how important is it for people to find out the root cause of what's
Right.
happening to them?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, it really depends on the person, I would say.
Yeah.
So some people are, very motivated to find the root cause. They'll, especially a lot of the people that I work with, they've been to many, many doctors, tried many medications. It's not working. So they're really
Mhm.
fairly desperate to find a root cause, and they'll do just about anything to help their health. Some people, they don't mind taking X, Y, or Z medicine.
Yeah.
It's working, it's covering up their
Exactly.
symptoms, and that's just easy for them. So, but
Yeah.
where I sit is really for that motivated person that's looking for a different way. And like you said, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the medications. If that's
Yeah.
working for you, great. I'm here to help
Exactly.
the person that either doesn't want to take the medication long term, or it's
Mm,
not working, or they haven't found an answer. Sometimes, traditional medicine only has so many tools
yeah.
that sometimes they can't find the answer. So, yeah, it really depends on the person, I would say, for that.
Yeah. Exactly. So we have around 10 people watching right now, and my good friend Darren Palantina, he's from the UK. We've been connecting on LinkedIn, um, and he's a big health advocate also. I know
Awesome.
this about him, and so yeah, same here. Happy 2025, my friend.
Yeah. Hi,
So
Darren.
yeah,
Nice to meet you.
yeah. So yeah, wow, that's amazing what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about how you like your goals, specifically with your patients
Sure.
in 2025, and your goals with your clients, because you do like health coaching, you do performance coaching. I
Yeah.
understand. So can you explain
Sure.
a
Let me
little bit about that?
tell
Thanks.
you a little bit more about that. Yeah. So I have, what I've figured out is that, and one of the reasons my word for 2025 is impact is when I left primary care, I was seeing maybe 30 patients a day. Now in functional medicine, I spend about an hour with my patients in every visit. So I can't, the quantity of patients I can see has really been shrunken down. So I've had to find creative ways to impact a wider audience, because that's my goal, is to spread this message to as many people as I can in my lifetime. So I do have a team of health coaches that work under me. There's 3 of them. Yeah, and they are really
Awesome.
they're the jump start, the nuts and bolts of getting started and working with me. And so we run a lifestyle program, which is, I have to
Wow.
say, for
Amazing.
most people, the biggest root cause is the lifestyle that we live,
Oh yeah.
right? Like
You're
the
so
things
right.
day in, day out, what foods we're eating, are we getting the sleep? How do we manage our stress? Do we move enough? All of those things, because they're things we do every single day, they really have a huge impact on our health. So my health coaches, we've created a program where someone can come in and they work with the health coach. You get your own individual health coach, and they get to know you really well, and they help you clean up those different lifestyle pieces.
Amazing.
Because like you said, if you go to the gym today, it's going to be packed. But if you go to the gym in a month, it's not going to be so packed, right? And so we just need help. We need help with those changes. It's really hard. I'm in
Yeah.
America. In our society, it's very hard to be healthy. It's like swimming
Mm,
upstream against the tide. All of our society is set up for, fast pace, drink the caffeine, take wine for bedtime, the whole thing. It's like go, go, go.
yeah.
So we need
That's
some
true.
help. So that's
Yeah.
that's one of the pieces of my
Amazing.
process, is having people
Yeah.
start with that lifestyle.
Yeah.
I
That's good.
do, yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
was
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I do have done some corporate wellness work as well, where we help go into a company and help teach the employees
Nice.
how to adjust their
Very, very
lifestyle.
nice.
Is very, very valuable. What we
Very
find that
impactful.
average is about, in 3 months period of time with working with us, we get about a 56% reduction in symptoms, just from changing the lifestyle. So it's really impactful. It's pretty inexpensive, and it can really make a huge difference in someone's life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello, Jabran. How are you? Good to see. Good to see you here, my friend. So yeah. Just like I'm kind of like mind blown by your impact and by your really, really. It's like okay, yes, we are getting your comments, Jabran.
Mhm.
Eh, happy 2025 to you, my friend. So, so what? Let's talk about prevention a little bit, and some of the tactics that your health coaches and you use with companies and um, uh, of course, not without giving the whole secret sauce, because I know there's a secret sauce that you do to get your different methodologies, different other things that you do to get your clients results, some awesome results for your clients. So, can you give us like a breakdown of let's say if a person says, "Hey, Emily, come to my company and do diagnosis and how can you help me?" So, what are the things that you help with specifically?
Yeah, yeah. So you're right about the secret sauce. My training in functional medicine, there's a lot of fancy tools. There's fancy tests that I
Yeah.
have. It can
Hmm.
get really in the nitty gritty, but
Hmm.
the place where I really encourage everyone to start is with the basics. There's sort of an
Hmm.
order of operations, what
Yeah,
we should do
that's true.
first and
Yeah,
second and third. So we don't
yeah,
start with the esoteric tests that cost hundreds
yeah,
of dollars, right?
yeah,
We start with the lifestyle. So,
yeah.
from a prevention standpoint, I can't think of a better way to prevent cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmunity, you name it. All of those conditions are inflammatory. That's the
Mm,
common thread with all chronic conditions, pretty much in mental health. All of it is there's a common theme of inflammation. And so we really work at reducing inflammation is going to reduce your likelihood of getting any of those conditions.
mm,
And
yeah,
that is very much possible by changing your lifestyle. A
yeah.
lot of our inflammation comes in with what the food choices that we make, or the chronic stress we're under that we aren't really mitigating or paying attention to, we can really help someone to kind of, as my coaches or myself are speaking with a client, we hear kind of, okay, here's the low hanging fruit for you,
Yeah.
right? This
Hmm.
is the
Yeah.
thing that stands out the most. Like, can we tweak this one thing? Can we
Yeah.
get you to change that slightly? And we're talking about
Yeah.
small goals. We try to make
Yeah.
very small, manageable goals because we want to
Hmm.
get quick wins.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get a
Exactly.
quick win, then you're ready for the next piece and
Yeah.
the next piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
that's
it just
good.
goes on
That's
from
good.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any advice on how to like maintain good habits like throughout the year, good healthy habits um, well, like of course people say eat well, right? But I mean, like, what does that mean, right?
Sure. Sure.
Like, do I go for the vegetables and salad
Yeah.
and don't go for the dressing? I mean, like, what what
Sure.
are some
That's
practical tips? Because I 100% agree. Diet has a lot to do with all of these things
mhm.
that we're experiencing right now, right? And it might not be a magic pill for to solve your problems, maybe in a week, but over
Right.
maybe several months or maybe even a year, you'd see changes, right? Obviously.
Yeah, I
So
would argue quicker than that. We
quicker
see
than that.
is 2 to 4 weeks. You can feel like a
Wow.
different person within.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing. So, any tips and advice on, um, like, for instance, what the general public
yeah.
means eat well?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
thinks about, okay, eat well. What's some common misconceptions,
Yeah.
and what does that actually mean?
Sure. That's a great question. And you're right. Like, to just be very broad because everybody's different, but the biggest key is to eat whole foods. So like on the simplest level, foods that aren't packaged, processed in a jar, like that kind of thing, the closer it is to its original form, the healthier it's going to be. So, looking at a label, if you're comparing two products, and one label has a bunch of words that you don't understand and can't pronounce, and the other product has just a couple ingredients and you can read them all, that's a better choice. Or
Mm,
choosing a fruit or a vegetable or some healthy protein, nuts and seeds, those things that don't have labels or need labels, we know what they are. Michael Pollan has a quote. I think it's something along the lines of, don't eat anything your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food.
yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
Pop Tarts and Fritos, like these things that are created in a lab, those,
Mm,
if we can avoid
yeah.
those things as much as possible and stick with the whole foods, that's going to reduce inflammation
Yeah.
drastically. Yeah, we do see usually within 30 days of changing, the way someone
Amazing.
is eating, we see drastic improvements in aches and pains, energy goes
Wow.
up, sleep is
Amazing.
better, digestive issues, all
Amazing.
of it. Yeah, it's really, really profound. And then, you mentioned, how does somebody stick with this? So my suggestion, and I've set up my practice with coaches to help somebody stick with it. But if you don't have a coach, finding a buddy, finding a friend
Mm,
who has the same goals is,
accountability.
yes, we need help. We need somebody to hold our hand and say, you got this, you can do this. And somebody
Exactly.
else that's in it with you is going to make
Yeah.
it so much easier than if you're doing it all alone.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I 100% agree about accountability there. So, um, well, I know specifically how bad. Well, in my opinion, like fast food, everything is like bad. I only eat McDonald's maybe once every 2 years,
Amazing.
right? So,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're used to that lifestyle, the fast food lifestyle, and food tastes so good,
Yes. Yes.
right? And and you're kind of borderline addicted to that
Yeah. Yeah.
taste,
That's
that
fair.
lifestyle, and like like I've heard comments, well, how bad can it actually be? Because I'm doing this every day and I feel the same. I don't feel good. I don't feel great, but I mean, how
Yeah,
bad can it actually be?
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, um, oh, I mean, like, what is your opinion on
Yeah.
that?
No, that's great. I think our taste buds change pretty rapidly. So if you are in the term addiction is a fair term around food, sugar in particular. It is sugar is more addictive than cocaine. So if it's something you're used to, like soda throughout the day, sugary Starbucks type stuff, that I mean that's fair. It's really hard to break that habit. I've seen two different ways that work for everybody's a little different. So some people, it really has to be a cold turkey. Like I'm ripping off the
Mm,
band-aid, I'm making a huge change, right? For some people, that's the way to go. Really hard for about a week, and then it gets much easier and you start to feel better. The other camp does better with, let me just start to decrease the amount I'm having, so slowly reducing the quantity of fast food or soda or whatever the concern is, and just swapping out a little here, a little more vegetables, a little less fast food. That's another way to do it. But our taste buds change really quickly. So even in the course of about a week to 2 weeks, foods will taste different. So, like for instance, I can tell you I've done several times like a 10-day cleanup where I just eat super healthy for 10 days,
mm,
like just a reset, a reboot. And at
good.
the 10 days, when like the only sweet thing I could really have was fruit, I'll get to like by that 10th day, a raspberry tastes so good. Like it
Mm,
tastes like the
yeah,
best thing in the
yeah.
world.
It's all
Whereas at
about
the
what
beginning
you're
of that,
saying.
a raspberry wasn't very exciting, right? So
Yeah.
it will change. But I would say, like figure out which camp you're in. And people usually know I
Mm,
need to do it all or nothing, or I do better with, a slow decrease.
yeah.
And, the other thing I would say about you commented, like, is it really that bad, or is it really worth it to do all of that, to change things up? And
Yeah.
I would say if you haven't played with this, especially if you're an entrepreneur, somebody with a
Yeah.
big goals and dreams, a lot of things
Yeah.
you want to do, I would say just do an experiment. Just
Yeah.
try it. Maybe you say, okay, for a week, I'm going to see what eating different feels like.
Yeah.
I really love to have people do more like 2 weeks to get the full effect.
Mm, yeah.
Once you feel better, sometimes we don't even know how bad we feel until we try and change. And then we're like, wow, this is what the potential that I have to, feel
Yeah.
even better.
Exactly. So I know this kind of, well, not controversial, but let's talk about veganism and vegetarian and meat eater. I know that different bodies react to different
Yes.
ways across the board on
Hmm.
this one. So what is your opinion about like
Sure.
veganism, about vegetarianism, and about
Yeah.
eating meat? And
Sure.
what are your top tips
Sure.
on handling that? Also,
Well, I think that the topic that you're bringing up, I'll just say protein is very important to the human body, and how all of the things, processes, and functions in the body. We need protein. We need it to build muscle. We need it to keep bone healthy. All kinds of things. And the thing I have seen with veganism or vegetarianism is it becomes almost like a full-time job to get enough protein
mm,
when you're not choosing animal products. Now, I would say if anyone has a religious or ethical reason for being vegan or vegetarian, then they should stay with that, right? I would never try to encourage somebody to do something they didn't ethically feel good about. But if it's something you're playing with from a health standpoint, I have seen a lot of people feel better when they do introduce animal protein.
mm,
Obviously, we want to go for high quality animal protein. So, we could talk about the cheapest chicken or beef you find. Those animals weren't treated very well. They were fed
mm,
antibiotic. All these things are
yeah.
cramped quarters, and so going for organic when you can, free range, grass fed. That's always going to be
Mm,
a higher quality
yeah.
protein. Yeah, but I would say that I've had several clients that when they started to reintroduce some animal protein, they felt a lot better.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And and I think balance is key also, right? You see, so sometimes the world deals in extremes, and
Yes.
other times it's much more relaxed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that media is selective on showing the most extreme
Yes. Yes. Yes.
scenarios, right? Obviously, like on TikTok and
Oh,
stuff.
for sure. Yeah.
And so it's like it's kind of hard to like fathom um, the effects on people when choosing uh, what kind of diet they want
Hmm.
specifically, right? And each one has to choose for themselves, obviously, right?
Yes.
But to go out of your way to like impose your opinion on other people,
Hmm.
that's where I'm like, you know what, this
Yes.
is not going to work, right? Obviously, so there's lots of stigmas and lots of um, preconceived notions for and against veganism, vegetarian, and eaters, like people who eat meat all three meals and they
Yeah.
lose weight. People who do all these kind of things with the diet, they experiment with the diet and have results,
Hmm.
but at the same time they're propagating this kind of lifestyle for others, right?
Yeah.
And so, do you think like that's kind of like one should be cautious to choose selective diets and or I know one size doesn't fit all, but is
Sure.
there like a diet plan that works?
Sure. Yeah, I do. I agree completely that there are very much extremes, and that it can get really. I get a little nervous in the extremes, right? That's we might be missing a nutritional component that they're not getting, or sometimes the extremes will give you a quick win. You feel good, but then ultimately it's not supporting long-term health or that prevention that we're looking to do as well. So we do have to be cautious with extremes. I think our bodies are the smartest doctors in the room. So if you try something and you feel good and you continue to feel good doing that, then that's the best answer for you. But I can tell you that from a functional medicine standpoint, that in the training that I've received, the best way, if you are currently eating meat, the best way to kind of fill up your plate is to have half your plate veggies,
Mm,
about a quarter of the plate a high quality animal protein or some sorts of protein, and then a quarter is some sort of carb, whether that's rice or quinoa or potato or whatever that looks like.
yes.
So that's kind of just a basic guideline, and we usually have it a little bit backwards. So shifting towards that might be a good place to start to move towards. But yeah, I try to stay away from the extremes unless you're under the care of a nutritionist or a doctor or
Exactly.
someone like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Some great tips here for sure. And now, I think we conquered the diet
Yeah.
aspect, and diet is like very important. So I want to dedicate some time towards that, and I think we did that very effectively, and it's obvious that you impact your clients, and that's so great. Um, Now um, let's talk about sort of like exercise routines as well, because obviously everyone knows like exercise routines are important, obviously, but I mean, to what degree? I mean, like, is just a brisk walk for 20 minutes a day good, or does it have to be more than that, or
Sure.
like what are your tips
No,
in
that's a
line
great
with that?
question. Yeah, I think I have seen kind of all over the board is people that aren't moving enough. Well, there will be health consequences. I also have to say that a lot of times in my entrepreneurial clients, the go-getters, they're actually over exercising sometimes. Getting on the
Wow. Good
Peloton
point.
every day, like trying to really crank it. So it's always about balance, but it depends on our age as well and what our health goals are. But walking is the perfect exercise just because it's accessible to everyone. Pretty much, you're not going to get injured,
Mm,
almost free, and it's very, very helpful. As we age,
mm,
though, we really want to start thinking about maintaining our muscle mass or promoting muscle growth. And so there we're talking about some sort of resistance, whether that's lifting weights, body weight exercises like planks or, push-ups on the floor, that sort of thing. But if you think about it evolutionarily, our bodies were made to be hunting and gathering all day long. Our
mm.
ancestors, they didn't really
Interesting.
sit down until nighttime. They were kind of busy, and working in the fields or doing whatever. And so our bodies really like to move, and they were meant to move. When we don't move enough, then we start to get stiff or sore, injured, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I would say start with where you are and, kind of maybe do an evaluation or a check-in. Like,
Yeah.
am I moving enough? Should I be moving a little bit more? 30 minutes of walking a day would be a great start for most people.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we talked about it before we got on the call, but
Yeah.
I live in Ohio, and I was thinking of you as I took my walk today. It was like 19 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I had a hat, scarf, gloves, hand gloves, whole thing. But I still get out there because
Yeah.
I
That's
always
good.
feel better when I'm
Yeah.
done. Even if it's
So
freezing
true.
cold, I'm like exhilarated. I have more
Yeah.
energy.
That's so
Everything
true.
feels better after some
Yeah.
exercise. So
Yeah.
and the other piece I would say about exercise is it is a great antidepressant.
Oh yeah.
There are studies where we compare regular exercise to Prozac, and exercise is a little bit better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So there's so much that you can do with these, like I said, these basic foundational lifestyle things can really add up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I know with incorporating like exercise routines and diet routines, it may take a little bit more time to prepare.
Yes.
May take a level. Of course, it's going to take probably a little more time to exercise.
Hmm.
Now, where does like time management go into this? And do you think, or maybe a little bit of laziness, maybe a little bit of like you know, procrastination because they don't want to do the things
Right.
they should be doing. And so I don't have time. I don't know, maybe they
Yeah.
use that as an excuse, but
Yeah.
maybe they may have a legitimate reason because they don't
No, I
have
hear you.
any time. So
Sure.
any tips on how to manage our time to make the time to do these more important things a little,
Sure.
but like meal preparation, you just like heat up in the microwave 2 minutes, beep, and you
Yes.
eat, right? Obviously. Or preparation of a meal may take like 20 minutes to half an
Yes.
hour,
Yes. That's
So,
a valid
so it's
question. Yeah.
like, mm,
Yeah, so great question. And what I would say is see if you can start by investing 5 minutes into what you want to change. So whether if it's exercise, like a 5 minute walk will do you some good and you will feel a little bit different. And then you might start to realize that your energy is better after that walk and you're actually more productive. So you're actually gaining time in productivity, right? So start small, see how it feels with from the food standpoint. This is that's a little bit of a harder sell for sure. What I would suggest if you don't have time to cook or meal plan, sometimes I'll cook a huge batch of something that I can eat multiple days
yes.
in a row. Yeah,
Okay.
I also love my crock pot where I just dump in healthy
Oh yeah,
ingredients.
crock pots are awesome.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's all ready to go. The other thing is like there are some healthy meal delivery services if you don't have time to
Mm,
plan and prep and all of
wonderful.
that sort of stuff. So look for, some that are a little bit more health conscious or have more, good amount of vegetables and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
But it can be done. I tend to spend a few minutes on the weekend when I have more time. I'll sit down and look at my week ahead and I'll plan what dinners we're going to have. most of the nights. We eat out sometimes. So maybe 5 nights I plan what meal we're going to have. Then I load up the grocery cart, on my app so that
Mm,
when I go to the grocery, it's all
good,
there ready to go.
good.
That helps a lot because if you wait till 5 p.m., it's just probably not going to happen. You're not going to have the right
Mm,
ingredients, or you're going to be too tired, or to not motivated to think of something.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, I think. Well, I know. Actually, well, it's happened to me too. Just like brainstorming, like a lot of variety in our diet plans. Not to eat the same thing over and over again. But then some people don't mind it. They eat the same thing every day. Obviously, it depends on what you you are in tune with and
Hmm.
what you're accustomed to. But I mean, like, actually, here in the Mexican culture, it's very, 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 very important that you have variation every single day, that you eat something different every single day. And it's like, because here is a culture like, okay, I feel like this, I'm gonna eat that. I feel like that. It's
Okay,
like whatever you're feeling in the moment, you eat, right? Obviously.
I love
And
that.
sometimes the good choices, sometimes like over here, like everything's organic, right? Like
That's
chickens
amazing.
are organic, beef is organic. You get a lot of those non-treated um,
Hmm.
vegetables, everything, because they just pluck it from the earth and they just like send it on
Amazing.
its way, right? So it's like, but yet, so a question around that is like, in reality, would this like be beneficial? I mean, like, what do you say to a client that says, I can't eat same thing every day. I
Yeah.
can't
Oh
eat,
no.
you,
Yeah,
you
I'm a
know. So what like tips do you have
sure.
to like vary
Yeah,
things
I'm
out?
a huge fan of variety.
Mm,
So actually, the bugs that live in our gut microbiome. I don't know if you're familiar with that term or if your
yeah,
audience is,
yeah.
but we have billions of bacteria living in our gut that help keep us healthy. And there's lots of different ones in there, and they all like to eat something different. So when we eat a variety of foods, fruits and vegetables and grains and seeds and nuts, then we keep everyone happy. We feed the whole microbiome. And so having a variety can be really, really helpful. It can be hard because that means more planning or more figuring out. It's very easy to just eat the same thing every day. So what I tell people is, maybe this time when you go to the grocery store, maybe the red peppers looked really good. So for the next couple days, you'll have some more red peppers. But then the next time you go, see if you can pick a different vegetable, and just
Mm,
rotate through. Or, maybe you throw some blueberries on your salad, or, you just kind of try to be creative and
mm,
in swapping it out. But does
okay,
not have to be every day is different or every
exactly.
meal is different.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
over the long haul, trying to have some sort of change is really good.
Yeah, exactly. Yet people like are getting to save time, like meal prep plans, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, is that effective? Is that like good thing? Like
Oh, yeah.
having like things ahead of time, but the same thing every day, right? The same thing every day, and um, what is your opinion about that?
So you're talking about planning out ahead of time, but eating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, because a lot of like, I like a lot of my friends, a lot of families, they work out, right? And a lot of my friends, they have children, obviously, and they have like um, meals planned out every day, and it's the same thing every day, you know.
Okay.
So So, any tips
I
on
yeah,
that? Is that good or bad? I don't
yeah,
know.
I have to say, like, the fact that they're planning is huge. That's great. You know, instead of being reactive and running to the fast food restaurant, they're actually planning and having an at-home meal. That's preferred, even if it's going to be the same thing for a while. I do think in the meal planning process, though, having a rotation. So,
Mm,
these couple days we're going to eat this thing, and then the next rotation is, these couple days. I have a friend who, I mean, you can get really sophisticated with this,
yeah,
where you can, you have your top 15 recipes and you can put them on like a rotation. So you can make a spreadsheet, you can get really creative,
yeah,
really
exactly.
fancy, but it doesn't have to be all of that.
Hmm.
It could just
Yeah.
be, okay, I'm going to plan and then I'm going to change the plan at the next planning session and do something different. So we get some routine built in.
So a lot of the trend is like to calorie count, right? Uh, of course, you can get you can it could be an extreme, right? So also, I mean, counting calories, but how do you feel about counting calories?
Yeah.
Like really, really delving into the details, and so I'm not going to do this because it goes past my
Yeah.
calorie count, or like what is the overall
Sure.
benefits and disadvantages of that? What do you think?
Yeah, the benefit, I guess, is just that you're paying attention to what you're eating, you're thinking about it, but I do think it takes a lot of the joy out of eating to be so scientific about it. And, the other piece to that is that the science behind the calories in versus calories out, methodology it's been kind of debunked to some degree. So that's not the most effective weight
Wow, amazing.
management tool. Yeah. Actually, what we want to look at is what are the calories made of that you're eating, because you could eat 100 calories of chocolate or 100 calories of broccoli, and they're going to have a very different impact on your physiology. So
Yeah,
the
that's true.
chocolate is going to raise your insulin. It's going to cause your
Yeah,
blood sugar to go up. It's going to create inflammation. The broccoli, you're going to feel really full. There's no inflammation
yeah,
happening. Your blood sugar is going to be stable. So it's a lot more about the choices that you make, and what does that choice do to your hormones. So think about
mhm,
things like your blood sugar and your insulin. We
yeah,
don't want our blood sugar shooting up and crashing down, and the lower we can keep our blood sugar and the more stable, the better off we're going to feel, and better off our weight will be. I just did a blog last month, and if anyone wants to read it, it's on my website. But the blog was about wearing a continuous glucose monitor. Have you heard of those?
yeah.
Yeah, so I did that for as an experiment for fun, and that's really, if you want, instead of calories in, calories out, I would say consider looking at what your blood sugar is doing throughout the day, even if you're not a
Oh
diabetic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As a
That's true.
non-diabetic myself, I really was able to see, like, when I eat white rice, my blood sugar goes up quite
Yeah,
significantly, and it's not sweet, right? So
that's true.
I figured out if I take a walk after I eat that rice, my blood sugar comes right back down. So you can learn
Amazing.
these things about how it affects
New
you.
tricks and techniques.
Yeah, and the continuous glucose monitors that are out there now for non-diabetic purposes are pretty cheap. I think I spent $49 to wear a monitor for 2 weeks and get that kind of data on my phone.
Amazing.
So it's really,
It's,
yeah. So
yeah, it's
that's
worth it.
that's what we want to look at, not the calories, but what is
Mm,
the
good.
effect of the food you're eating.
Yeah, yeah, very, very good. Well, Emily, any concluding thoughts about how to maintain health in 2025
Yeah, I
before we
would say
conclude?
start small. Think about the lifestyle. That's where it's at. You don't need the fancy stuff. Just start small. And if you need some support, reach out to a friend, reach out to, a family
Mm,
member. My team can help support you, but community is where it's at. Getting support,
yeah,
and that's what's really going to help us stick with it. But
yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful. So, where can people get a hold of you?
Sure. Yeah. I LinkedIn is one of my favorite places to hang out, but
Awesome.
I on my website, which is
Okay.
balancedlivingfm.com. I'm sure we can probably link that or
Yep.
something along those lines. Yeah, you can find me there.
Cool.
I have newsletters that go out quite regularly. You can sign up for, and my goal is consistent education, giving small
Awesome.
tips, small education throughout the, every day. I'm trying to spread this message and have the impact go further and further. So that'd be
Awesome.
great.
Well, Dr. Emily, it was such a great, 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 um, very, very good, actually some mind blowing
Mhm.
information. And I think, including me, we've learned so much.
Aw,
And and
Jordan.
so once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And
you for having
also, if you want to get in touch with Dr. Emily and her team of coaches to help transcend your business growth, because a
me.
lot of your business growth has to do with a lot about how you feel every day.
Yes.
So so please get in contact with Dr. Emily, and she'll get you on the straight and narrow to live a healthy lifestyle daily, so that you can conquer the day in your business. And of course, the most important thing, to be and cherish those moments in health with your loved ones, right? I think
Yes,
that is number one priority that everyone has today in
definitely. Yeah.
2025. So, Dr. Emily, before we
Thank you.
go, I'd like to ask you, what are your goals for 2025?
Yeah.
And share those.
So my goals are to support my team, grow my team, and expand my reach as far as possible. And this opportunity was like the perfect kickoff. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for allowing me to do that.
no
And
problem, no problem.
yeah, it was great to meet some of your followers. And yeah, I'm here to tell people about functional medicine and what it can do to change their world. So
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Enjoy your new year, and thank you so much for joining us. Next Tuesday and next Thursday, we're having another LinkedIn Live. We're going to have other guests in the health profession, and other guests. I think he's a strategist as well, sales strategist. So it could be absolutely amazing. Our show is going to grow and grow and grow and grow. And
awesome.
same thing with your audience, Emily. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
this time we had
Yes.
together. Bye bye, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Goodbye.